Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we cannot talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea here, which today is an Earl Grey with a bit of a jasmine flower in it. And it's a quite particular Earl Grey in the sense of it's actually a combination of both a black and a green tea, and they contain a little bit of citrus and the jasmine flower. It's a loose tea that I got a long time ago, and I don't even know where the blend originally is from. And there is very little left, so I will have to see maybe if my local tea store that does it in loose tea might be able to recreate or know where it is, but it is really nice. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this tea for you before, but you know, once in a first. But there has been going a lot of things on lately. Yeah, plenty of updates, in fact. I talked to you during my podiversary that I wanted to use some of my smaller stock yarns for like beanies and the like, because they are kind of small projects that are quick to whip up often. And therefore, you know, I had this idea of starting to make these smaller beanies projects for donation for homeless to a foundation that's in Denmark. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. And I finished that beanie with the quite bulky yarn where I was using a 9mm crochet hook. And this is the end result. So it's just like a very simple beanie. And it does fit. So there's like nothing crazy about this except, yeah, it's a beanie. Eventually it will go with me to Denmark, or it will go with my mom to Denmark, depending on if I go to Denmark first or opposite. But yeah, that's a donation for that part in Denmark. So I think it's a great idea, and you know, they do socks, hats, scarves, etc. to help keep people warm in the winter, or just to help people with fewer means than the average, basically. So that's a finished project. Except for that, there's a lot of things to catch up on, basically. Yeah, I have also been working on my baby blankets here, I think, but not gotten a lot further. Here we are. It's pretty much like what is, I'm not sure if I actually made one side panel or so. It's very little, I admit. I work very little on it, simply due to the fact that how can I say best? Yeah, I was focusing on my west. I wanted to finish the back panel of the west, which I actually did, but I'm gonna show you that in a bit. But yeah, it's still working up really nicely, this shell stitch. It's still not as big as it should be until I add the pink. I have a baby pink that's gonna be helping with some edging and make a little bit change of the coloration. Of course, it still needs some blocking, and I have plenty of yarn to go from this skein. It's 150 gram skein from Ice. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish the skein first or if I'm gonna have the blanket at a diameter of about 1 meter. And around the meter, that's when I wanted to add some rows of pink. Not really completely sure how big I would like to make it. It kind of depends. So I think I will measure when we get a bit later. Right now, I'm not even sure how wide it is, 50 some odd centimeters maybe. So it's not even half the size that I want it to be. So there's plenty of work there to go, but it's one of those mindless projects you can bring with you when you're in the car or when you're watching TV, because, like, you know, when you have the concept of the pattern, it's pretty much easy repeats all the way around, as long as you remember to do a double V stitch in the corners, because else you won't be able to fit the corners in. So there's that. Yeah, and as I did mention, The reason I haven't had that much time to work on the baby blanket is because I ended up finishing the back panel of my vest, my Leave On Me vest, Leave Me On vest, which is a free pattern that I have from Hobby. And yeah, of course, I've linked to the pattern down below. All the things I make from patterns, find them down below. The things I don't have pattern for, I'm sorry. Some of them are free-minded, or it's not a direct pattern I can link to or whatever. But yeah, so I finished the back panel of this vest, and it is a slightly oversized, intended to be oversized, so it's extremely drapey a vest. And as you can see here, there's like a slight decrease here to make rooms for the arms, and that will be the shoulder part. And it's more than big enough for me, I would say, looking at this. But yeah, that's how it's looking so far. Very, very lovely drapey pattern, and yeah, that's where I got. So I just missed the 2 front panels, so I'm having to make 2 front panels about half the width, maybe a bit less actually. That will then go on here, and I will be working on a V-neck shaped. So I would say I'm about halfway done with the vest, which is amazing because it's taking some time, but that is with garment, it just takes time. And yeah, when I'm done with this vest, that's when I want to start my sweater in the super soft yarn from Lamy Yarns, which you have seen me having yarn holes from, and I already made a blocked swatch of it to make sure to get an idea on how and what. But for the Leave On Me vest, I am using this Twister Solid Cake. This is what I have left on my second skein so far. Therefore, I don't actually expect to use all 4 skeins. I wasn't sure if I would have enough yarn because obviously I had to make it a bit larger to ensure that the size would fit based on how the pattern is described. And I think I do have more than enough yarn, so that's nice. I always like, having extra than the anticipated. It's easier to use your spare yarn for something than it is to get extra yarn, especially if the dye-lot numbers doesn't match or whatever. I'm sure you know that feeling from yourself. But yeah, so yeah, I'm really, really pleased on how this is progressing. So that's amazing. Then I'm also working on this bag, and the bag I'm working on is made in the Mayflower cotton yarn here, which is an 8/4 ply, which what we would use it or call it in Denmark. And it's a double-stranded or held double-stranded, so that's why I have 2 running. And this is so far how far I've gotten. It's a very nice defined stitch that I'm using here, which is basically as simple as a single crochet and then a long single crochet and then a single crochet and a long single crochet. To be able to do this, you must have an uneven amount of stitches so that you keep being able to alternate as you go around, and it's just worked in the round. And right now, the only thing I'm doing is basically I'm gonna work around and around and around until I believe this has the size I want it to have. Theoretically, I could probably close it down and have like a small pencil, case. Not that I'm going to school anymore, but that's the general idea of it. But I do want it a little bit bigger. I did 2 weeks ago ask you guys if you thought I should put a lining in or not. Majority suggested a lining, and then there were some being, yeah, but if it's only going to be to hold your crochet hooks, which was my original intent, then obviously they won't be able to fall out of the stitch, because as you can see, it's not that airy. Like, the likelihood it can fall out is small. And I'm using this 4mm crochet hook to do it from Prim. And as you can see, there's more than plenty of enough space for it. In fact, it could easily have been shorter. And therefore it's led me to think I might actually want to make a second of these. So I might want to make this for another purpose and then make a new one, because I do have extra of this cotton yarn. Well, a different color, but still I have extra of it. And I might make a different one to contain the Prim hooks. I do, of course, have a zipper to go with it, which is here. So as you can see, it's just a little bit longer, which is handy dandy. Because if it's too short, it's not good. It's neutral white. And then, as we talked about, because we ended up being like, okay, I should get a lining. Last week, I did go to the city because I had lots of appointments, and I did go to the yarn store that I had found should be there. It was indeed there, and I did find some lining. So I bought a meter of lining, which is probably, well, it is overkill, but then I thought, then I have a bit of extra lining for other projects, if I wanted to make other bags in the future. And the lining is very, it's very matching, I would say, because, you know, it's also 100% cotton lining that I found. So it's just this plain, yeah, there's nothing more to say except, yeah, it's just a plain cotton. Was a really good price, I think, and it's nice and soft cotton even. Like, when I feel of it, like here, it's really nice. I think it's a really good lining I found. And what did I pay for this meter? €6. Like, I was surprised how cheap it was, yardage wise. And I saw another store that has these smaller swatches of yarn, or not yarn, of linen or fabric. And their fabrics were like, I think 60 by 70 or something like that. And they were like €4 per fabric. So I think I'm like almost at half the price, which is nice. That's a scoop of a deal. But that's basically the combination. So the zipper is obviously a slight bit lighter. It would have been cool if the real zipper itself had been more silver color than a brass, but we can't have everything perfect. A lighter lining so that it's kind of matching the zipper. And then the bag in this lovely jeans blue. I think this is gonna turn out absolutely amazing. My only challenge right now is I don't actually have a sewing machine. So I will either need to visit my mom-in-law and don't borrow hers, or I will simply hand sew it all. I might do that. It's not like a big piece, and it should be doable. Done correctly, I should be able to do that. Like, I'm optimistic. I have to be optimistic, because in the end, I have to sort of hand sew it into here as well. I can do that. Yes, I can absolutely hand sew that. But yeah, that's my bag process. And then we also have, of course, the shawl that I'm working on. As you know, this shawl that I'm working on has been a design project, and I've not yet come to a design I like. Basically, it's either not aligning up, or it's gonna be a pain in the rear to write a pattern for, because it's gonna be constant. Like, there is no repeating rows. And therefore it's just been, okay, put it a bit aside. Yet the last bit that I did try was like this insane sort of increase. So like work it from the bottom and up. But it would, in the end, I realized, and I haven't really even finished this, I'm gonna flog this, but it's not gonna line up nicely either. It's the increases compared to the width of the pattern itself is simply too wide. So I have to do it in a different way. I need to think further about that. But yeah, so the conclusion is basically that the yarn, eventually, like you can only flog it so many times, eventually it starts to show on the yarn. In this case, I'm gonna flog it, and I may as well use the cotton for something. My idea needs to grow a bit further to make a good design of it. So it's not gone to a standstill because I ended up gathering inspiration from somewhere else. And therefore I found a pattern which is actually for a pillow, but it works amazingly well for a leaf concept shawl. And it has repeating rows. So I started on that, and there's not something that I designed, but it's working out really nice, I would say. So this is the first few rows so far, which I've worked a bit on this weekend. And as you can see, it is sort of leafy still and airy. It is, of course, this lovely cotton cake that I'm using for it. It's a Stanley cotton cake, 100% super soft cotton. Lovely. Dark green into this minty green center. And I'm basically just gonna work on this until this gets to a decent size. Not sure how big it's gonna be, but there should be about 1,000 meters of yarn. I'm using a 3mm crochet hook for this yarn. And I think it's working out pretty nice. And the good thing is, of course, because it is a 3-row repeat, it's something that I can easily make a tutorial for. So I do believe once I'm done with this, might even do it earlier, then I want to make a tutorial for you guys of this pattern and of this shawl. I do have a few options for cakes to use for the tutorial. So I'm gonna probably, like, next yarn talk, poll it to see which you think would be the best to make the tutorial from, or which you think would be the nicest outcome. Yeah, I have two options, at least what I have laying around right now that I think would be amazing to use for it. I really like how this is so far turning out, and I'm looking forward to see the final result of this shawl. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a different leafy pattern, but I do like it. I do like it indeed. Many other things has been going on. Last time we talked shortly about that I had applied for a new job, and I spent a bunch of time making this assessment. And yeah, I had an interview actually last week Friday. I think it went well. At least they liked my profile, but of course it's easy to say. I have a good feeling. I know there was 45 minutes set off for the interview, and we spent almost an hour talking and chatting, talking back and forth. I think it could be an awesome project to join. And I had a good click with the guy that should be my immediate superior, so that's a positive thing. Though he's still going to interview 2 more people. I don't know when those interviews are, but he said that I would know regardless if I would get the job or not within the next 2 weeks. So yeah, absolutely looking forward to that. That may give me a bit more flexibility, at least in some aspects of life. I hope. But yeah, it would be nice. I like a challenge, and I think this is something that's, yeah, it could be good for me. Anyhow, so that was a bit about that update. Yeah, and of course, we have more things coming up on this channel. This week on Thursday, we have the winner draw. So I'm going to draw the winner of the current giveaway that's running. That contains some contains a woolly cake and some ice yarns. I'm going to link to that giveaway here in the description box down below. So if you haven't participated yet and would like to win some yarn, I very much suggest you to go and watch that video and enter to get your chance to win. I also have a yarn haul coming up on Friday. That yarn haul is from Ice Yarns, so stay tuned for that if you do like ice. So yeah, more ice yarns are gonna be shown on this channel. Then last week, as you know, I was in the city and I was next to my appointments trying to visit some of the box stores or brick and mortar stores. Where they do carry yarns, and I did get some recordings from various stores, not as much as I would have liked to, but I am going to make a video of that day, which is like a compilation video, and some of it will be voiced over due to respect of people that might have gotten into the background voice level, or just to prevent copyright issues with musics placed in stores and stuff like that. One of the stores played a pretty high music, background music, so even if I would have tried to talk instantly and tell you about what I was seeing there, you wouldn't have been able to hear me because the music was really pretty high going through. So I have to edit all that and make a video of that. Of course, unfortunately, one of the stores I wanted to visit wasn't there anymore. It had closed. And have a new department somewhere else, which was not even close to the area I was in. So I did visit a few stores, and I also didn't record from all the stores. But yeah, that's all gonna be in that video, and I hope to have it all edited to post for you guys like next week. I do have a few other things coming up. I received some books from Amazon, and we have some yarn comparisons coming up as well. Yeah, plenty of things basically going on this channel, and plenty of things to come. More yarn hauls, more giveaways. Next week I'll have a new giveaway running eventually. I need to visit the post office to ship off a single of my winners winnings as well. But yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for the share. Thank you for the support. And I will absolutely see you at least 2 times more this week for new videos. So for the winning draw on Thursday and for the ice yarn haul woohoo, on Friday. I may do an unboxing of the book I ordered. Actually, I ordered 2 books and it looks like I'm getting 2 packages. I may do that as well this week if I reach it, but take that as a bonus. And as always, it's a pleasure sharing my process and projects and everything here. And thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's such a pleasure being with you guys here in my community. Take care until I see you guys again.